Welcome back in to the High School Fan Zone on this Wednesday night. We're going to wrap up like we will on every Wednesday night through Thanksgiving. I think it was right before Thanksgiving we take a little break with Lubbock Cooper in the Pirate Fan Zone. And just a reminder there, we've shuffled the deck a little bit. Monday nights are going to be Estacado, Memorial, and Liberty, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Tuesdays will be Monterey and Coronado, 6 to 7 p.m. And then Wednesdays like tonight, we start out with Lubbock High, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper, 6 to 7:30 p.m. I want to jump in and mention this before I forget for this week. Friday nights on both Double T 97.3 FM and 100.7 The Score, you can listen to the West Texas Friday Night Preview, 6 to 6:30, and then 9:30 to midnight. Same two stations, the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard. A lot of that will on Double T 97.3 FM, depends on how long Friendships games go. Sometimes you have to wait on the Tigers a little bit because they fling the ball a little bit. Archived shows can be found on the High School Fan Zone page at doubletsportsnetwork.com and download the 100.7 The Score mobile app to listen live or to listen to podcasts of all 8 High School Fan Zone shows, including this one, which if you're not listening live or you're watching live, you see Chip Darden to my far left, and Patric or Pat Garcia in the middle. I told him we're going to keep moms and grandmas happy, so I'll call him Patrick.
Might be one of those like when we're kind of mad at him when he does something wrong, we call him Patrick. But
yes.
When he's doing good, we call him Pat.
But wait a minute, is Chip your legal first name?
It is.
Okay, so your wife can't. What you want to reveal your middle name?
Yeah, Damon Charles is my actual name. So.
And does Stacy break that out every
now and then? Yeah.
I get the double names every once in a while. And see, you've got 3 kids.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Sooner rather than later, you're going to start rattling off all 3 of them just to cover your bases.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Kaysen, Blakely, and Cannon. They wanted me to say hi to them tonight.
There we go.
Saying hi to all 3 of them. But hey, I'll say this about Jay. You said they throw the ball so much and their games last long. One year he came over and they got in a heavy set and ran like 3 run plays right in a row to start the game. So he's got it in him. He's got some run game in him.
I'm not going to jump in and give away anybody's scouting reports. They do have a little bit different running back than they've had in the past. Right now, they have Braden Dunkerson came over from Lubbock High, who's a little bit bigger than him, and Patrick would match up well. Yeah. So we're not going to put the cart before the horse because Lubbock Cooper has a game this week against another city team. They go up the road. The road, Lowry Field to take on Coronado at 7 p.m. Friday at Lowry Field. That will be on right here on 100.7 The Score and on 96.9 The Bull for the Coronado broadcast. Pirates lost their season opener 35-31. I was at that game. It was an entertaining game from where I was sitting. I know that you guys didn't win, and that's not the entertaining part. But there was some good things to see, some things to grow on too. And we talked earlier this week, Chip. You said that you liked your team's resolve and some things that you did, especially in the second half, especially with these guys on defense by getting Lovejoy off the field a couple times there. What was kind of the goal or the focus this week when you got down and got busy getting ready for Coronado?
Yeah, I think there's a lot in week 1 that you got to get better at schematically and just some of the fundamentals that you're doing. That's every year, but to me, two focal points, or one in particular, is handling a little tiredness better. And I thought we got a little bit winded, and then maybe, I don't know about taking plays off, but didn't quite get in a good enough stance or didn't align right, didn't communicate right. Just things that you do when you get a little fatigued. So I'm hoping that we handle that better, and I think we will. And then just some situational stuff. Offensively, we've got to be better in the red zone, and kind of the same coming out of half. Defensively, we've got to be better coming out of half. We focus on that a lot in practice. We're coming off of an extended break. You got to be able to transition fast, and there's no time to really get warmed back up. So those would be 2 areas I think we can focus on.
Patrick, we're going to talk a little bit about something Cale Kirk talked about after the game. Well, first of all, and Coach and I had our podcast interview earlier this week, and he mentioned this. You guys, I think Lovejoy scored touchdowns on 5 possessions in a row, and that can get in your head and mess you up a little bit and make you kind of maybe not wave a white flag, but like Coach said, maybe not play as hard. But you guys didn't. You did the opposite. Yes, sir. Where'd that come from for you guys to keep playing hard and actually start playing better on defense?
Honestly, our main focus sometimes is just move on to the next play, and I think we all took that in account. So I think that's where we mainly got that extra drive from, like, okay, we need to go harder next time and just give it our all.
And full disclosure, Lucas Lovejoy is a really good team. Had a really good offensive scheme, and we've talked about this a few times. Pretty good coach on that other sideline. You guys have a pretty good coach, too.
Yes, sir.
He's just not as old as Todd Dodge yet. Pat, or what Cale talked to me about after the game is he was excited about, and we talked more with Coach about that, is there were some tweaks on defense, not necessarily at halftime, but in the third quarter where you guys started doing some different things that kept Lovejoy from scoring again after those 5 in a row. What's that tell you about your team, that you guys have that kind of intestinal fortitude to make that kind of switch?
I think it's just the heart that all of us have, and when we put it together, then I feel like we're unstoppable. And I mean, obviously not every drive is going to go the way we want, but if we put our mind to it, then I think that's what really helps us, is we all trust each other. And I mean, that's really all you can do, is just have trust in your brothers and just plan for it to go one way, and then if it doesn't, just move on to the next play.
Because Chip, when we talked, I know you said you played more nickel. There's X's and O's, there's schemes, but a lot of that has to come from between your guys' chest plate and their breastplate. It's got to be something where they dig down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy, Patric, he was our defensive MVP, and we also given a new award out for all 3 phases of the game. Just play the hardest. He's getting that too this week. He leads. I've been saying this a lot, but leads from the front. He shows guys how it's done, and we got a lot of guys that play hard, but I don't know if anybody plays harder than this one. And that just shows. I mean, I think that's a lot of what he's talking about. You know, hey, things are going south. You've given up 5 touchdowns in a row. The only thing you can do is line up and play your tail off the next play.
Just make sure that's not 6.
Absolutely. And so that's what he did, and I think we had a lot of guys that followed his lead, and that then ultimately that's when you start having some success and put you in a situation where game could have turned, I think, and game could have gotten away from us, and it didn't. We gave ourselves a chance to win at the end.
I bet your teammates call you Pat. I bet they can't get away with calling you Patrick.
No,
like, you're a big dude. We're going to talk more about the Pirates, especially I want to switch over to the offense because there were some good moments on that side of the ball as well. We'll be back after this break on 100.7 The Score in the Pirate Fan Zone.
Bringing you the latest news from Lubbock Cooper Athletics. This is the Pirate Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the high school fan zone on a Wednesday night. I'm going to run through the schedule real quick before we jump back in with Chip and Patric/Pat Garcia. Thursday night, Abilene Wiley comes to town. They take on Monterey at Lowry Field. That is 7 p.m. That will be on 93.7 The Eagle. Kingdom Prep is actually at home on Thursday as well over at Warwick Memorial Stadium against Anton in a 6-man game. Friday night, Friendship is at Wichita Falls Memorial. That is on Double T 97.3 FM. These Pirates are at Lowry Field at 7 p.m. Friday. That's on Double T, 100.7 The Score FM and 96.9 dueling radio stations. That's always fun. I mean, I always want to make sure the radio guys don't get up and start scrapping. You never know what might happen there. Tommy Wood's a pretty scrappy little man, though. Yeah. He may hold his own. Lubbock High is on the road at Big Spring, 7 p.m. Friday. It's on a radio station down the dial a little bit. We've got Estacado at Hereford, also on another network at 7 p.m. Friday. Liberty is at home 7 p.m. Friday at Patriot Stadium against Idalou. You know a couple of coaches on both those teams.
Yep, sure do.
I asked Joe about that today, and he said that Idalou's starting to look a lot like Lubbock Cooper. And that's not a surprise because a lot of schemes are going to be the same. And Christ the King is the other 6-man game. They are at home 5 p.m. on Friday. Would you guys like playing a 5 p.m. game? Would that throw you off? I know the coach answer is going to be 7 p.m. Friday. I
wouldn't like it this time of year.
No,
as hot as it is.
Nope, not at all. Let's see. I want to go back up here. I almost forget. The HubCityPreps.com game of the week is Lubbock Christian at home against Sundown. That's 7 p.m. Friday at Mask Rider Capitol Field. It's a lot of football. I'm enjoying this early season. I always enjoy this early part of the season because you guys are the exception this week. There's 2 city teams playing, but there's a lot of football. I'm going to guess you might swing by Lowry Field, Chip, Thursday to look at Abilene Wiley, or
is
that what young coaches are for?
Yeah, well, we don't really do the live scouting much. We get all the films, but with our sub-varsity games, we'll be at those. So it's nice that one's on TV.
Yes, it is on TV. I'm not supposed to mention that.
Oh, my fault. I mentioned it. I mentioned it.
There you go. But and you said, like you said, there's dozens of ways. There used to be some pretty full press boxes on Friday nights. My wife's from Plainview. I used to tease Marty McClintock because Plainview had the biggest assistant coaching staff in the history of Texas football. They'd just be an army of them coming in, one after another. Yeah. They turned out to be pretty good. So, And so was Lubbock Cooper. And I just, like I said to Jay Northcutt a minute ago, I have a hunch that your guys are going to come back pretty locked in after losing last week, and talking to you, talking to Patrick here, and talking to the other guy that I want to bring up, and it's Ryan Rodriguez, who you told me about how none of your guys it makes sense. Nobody likes to lose. You don't do anything and want to lose. But talking to Ryan the other day, you could kind of get, there's a little edge to Ryan. Mm-hmm. And it takes some figuring out with Ryan to tell what's exactly going on under the surface. But that's a guy that's ready to come out and see what he can do to help you win.
Yeah, I think in general, I was curious to see, one, how the team took it on Friday night, like how they were right after the game, and you could tell it was not if you're ever worried about a moral victory or anything like that, there wasn't any of that. So, and then I was also curious how we showed up Monday. Labor Day practices are, coaches hate those because it's just different, and getting everybody there, and it's one of the best Labor Day practices we've ever had. So I think those two showed us exactly where their minds are, exactly how competitive they are, and I'm expecting us to play pretty well on Friday.
Patrick, and I was a high school football player a long, long time ago, like even before Coach was born. That's how long. What is the mental and the emotional challenge to lose a game like that you guys had a chance, could have gotten the ball back and scored at the end, to put that behind you and come back Monday, like Coach said, and be locked in? What are the things you kind of have to do to get ready for that?
I think honestly, just after you lose a game, you just have to kind of deal with it that night, and then just wake up the weekend, relax, and get your mind right, and then just go into Monday just with a different mindset. And it did leave a bad taste in our mouths, but I think we're going to use that as fuel to win this next game.
I mentioned there were some positives offensively, especially 3 and out. Both teams went 3 and out first series, but then your offense started moving the ball, started doing some things. Ryan mentioned when I talked to him, got the option game going, which you said this to me afterwards, said me to Stephen Garcia from the Avalanche Journal. Ryan's faster. Yeah. He's not just a different older quarterback. He's got a little bit more pickup in his step.
We kind of noticed that this summer workouts, and then especially once fall camp started, notice he's a little faster. And that's the thing about our option game. Like we want to be balanced enough through that and through our regular run game and the passing that maybe if you take something away, we've got something else we can go to. So I thought the option opened up a lot of other stuff early, and executed that really well.
We're going to ask about Ryan's favorite play from the other night that I asked him about when we come back. I told him you need to call that 45-yard run more often. So we'll come back after this break in the Pirate Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta, and this is 100.7 The Score.
Breaking down Lubbock Cooper sports. This is the Pirate Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Pirate Fan Zone. I was talking to Chip Darden. I'm going to have to get Terry Baxter on here at some point. I don't know which sport to fit him in with now. Strength and conditioning, is that one of his official titles?
I think that's right, yeah.
I'll tell you what, and he works with a lot of the girl programs, and those girls are physically ready for whatever. I mean, you guys are all jacks of all trades out there at Lubbock Cooper. That guy's adjusted from being a really like a great baseball coach to I'm going to be good at this, and he makes sure that your girl athletes are ready for whatever they're going to face.
Yeah, something we believe in, and lifting weights with all of them. Pat can tell you that football team, we lift on game days. We believe in weightlifting out there. So, it just makes you a better athlete, makes you a better player in all sports.
Who spots Coach when he's lifting?
I'm not sure. Probably
Still
all the
lift?
coaches.
I do.
Okay.
Early in the morning before everybody gets there. I don't lift enough. I don't lift enough weight for anybody to be smart.
There you go.
Me.
That's smart to do it when nobody's watching.
Yeah. No, Pat lifts pretty good.
There we go. We talked about this before we went. Ryan Rodriguez, I thought, had you guys clicking there early. Now, the whole offense, I'll say the same thing I said to the Friendship folks. It's quarterback gets a lot of the credit, a lot of the blame, but it takes a lot. But for what he's doing as a third-year starter, I thought it was encouraging to see how the offense ran some, not necessarily different wrinkles, but he's gotten better at some of those wrinkles.
Yeah, and I think there's confidence in us as coaches, and we go on a big drive to go up 7-0, and then they get the ball back. Pat makes a huge play on a sack, big hit that they fumble, we recover, and then we're just confident in Ryan and what to do. We went with a shot play the very next play and got an interference call, but sometimes inexperienced quarterback, you might just be a little more conservative and go, hey, we just got a turnover. Let's make sure we don't turn it over here. But got confidence that he's going to make the right choices and right decisions. And really, we've got that with a lot of our guys. We got a lot of experience that got confidence in.
I call that the Les Miles rule, that when you're not real confident in your quarterback, you hand off
That's right.
a lot.
Yep.
And then when you get Zach Mettenberger or somebody like that, you can fling it a little bit.
Yep.
It's going to sound strange, Patrick, but knowing that Ryan's, you could tell that you guys have been friends for a while when I talked to the two of you, knowing that he's that experienced and your coaches have that confidence in him, when you're watching him from the sideline on defense, how confident are you that this is a guy that's going to get us going where we need to go and give us a chance on defense?
I'm very confident in him. Since I've known him, he's always just been a smart player. Like middle school, he played linebacker. He would read the keys very well and just be everywhere he needed to be. So with the offense, I put my whole trust in him because I know he's going to do what he needs to do and the right decisions he's going to make.
Was he a good linebacker?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's a real good linebacker.
So you had to coach that linebacker out of him to become a quarterback?
He still asks to go play.
You know where I'm going with this,
Yeah.
because I've asked you before. How fired up were you guys last year in that playoff game when he kind of became a linebacker again?
I was pretty fired up, yeah.
You could tell he was fired up.
Yeah.
When I sat down with him and Colton Bouchard and did a podcast earlier this year, it was interesting to talk to him because I think they played together in middle school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
And it was kind of interesting to hear them talk that Colton was like, yeah, that dude was a good linebacker.
Funny that he's a linebacker. Pat was a tight end forever until last year and made that move to defensive end. And obviously it's been a good move for him as well.
You miss catching the ball every once in a while?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Coach knows
He
what
might. He not give those district folks too much to think about, but he might do it later on in the year.
Coach knows where my soft spot was. I was a quarterback, and then I got hurt, and I was a big kid, and they said, well, let's try you at tight end. So I didn't get to catch many passes, though, so it was mostly blocking.
Pat's a great story. Like he was a sophomore, played a little bit on varsity, like moved up a little bit, and but just the way he took off last year, and it just started with, we mentioned it already, with his effort. He just started playing harder than anybody, and the results are there, and it's always good to see. He's a team leader and a captain, and I think that's because of how hard he plays.
Well, and Pat, I actually called you Pat in this. Pat is on the LCP Athletes of the Week post on HubCityPreps.com. Ryan was the boys player of the week, but we're coming up to the end here. But real quick, one of your tight ends that I'd not heard this name until the other night, Travis Esparza. Mm-hmm. He came up big. He's not such a hidden weapon anymore, but you guys always find a tight end or two that can do some damage. Yeah,
and we had another one that didn't play Friday night that'll help a lot too, and white hair. And but Travis is a good player, and he's kind of one of those. And not that he doesn't practice hard, but he's a gamer, and we've known that about him. And you'll see him on both sides of the ball all year as well. And tight ends matter to us, and so Pat will play a little bit as well. We think that's an important part of the game. To keep my favorite Darden happy, who coaches the tight ends? Different this year. Matt Gafford this year. I was trying to give Matt Darden some love there. He's the O-line coach now. There we go. Well, he's coaching some good dudes too then. Yep. It's going to wrap us up on this edition of the High School Fan Zone and the Pirate Fan Zone. We'll be back Monday with Estacado, Liberty, and Memorial. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.